And I'm back with the second session of a live stream from the Hasta Shilpa Heritage Village in Manipal. What brings me here is the re-curation of the museum dedicated to the Ravi Varma Press, which Mr. Vijaynath Shenoy, the person who established the Hasta Shilpa Heritage Village, had brought in from Lonavala at the time when the remnants of the press were being discarded. And what we have with us as the effort of Mr. Vijaynath Shenoy is fantastic archival material in relation to the functioning of the Ravi Varma Press. In yesterday's live stream, I showed you a portion of the Hasta Shilpa Heritage Village, and we walked into the room where we have started curating the final chromolithographs which came out from the Ravi Varma Press. Today, I want to show you what the Hasta Shilpa Trust actually holds in its collection as to the process of how the Ravi Varma Press made the images. And let us actually start with this picture here. This is very fragile, so I'm not really going to touch it. It's a fragment of a progressive proof print. This is Surya and this is Kunti. Initially, when I looked at this at the time when I was writing the book, I actually thought this was derived from a painting by M.V. Dhurandhar. But it was very recently, because of a friend of mine, Prashant Tapadia, that we realized that this was from a painting by A.M. Mali. So it's wonderful to actually go on learning about how the Ravi Varma Press functioned. So this is the first thing which I wanted to show you. This is one of the discoveries which we brought out today. The other one is this, and this is an original painting, evidently for some sort of an advertisement. And look at how very beautiful both of these paintings are. We intend bringing them out on display at the time when we recurate the museum. The Ravi Varma Press did make a lot of these designs for advertisements, and I think these two would have been for some sort of an advertisement, like a textile label or maybe a label for some sort of a product. So this is one thing which I was very keen to show you. The other one is this, and this is a chromolithograph. It's titled Lakshmi. It features in volume 3 of my book series, Ravi Varma An Everlasting Imprint. The wonderful thing about the Ravi Varma Press was that they allowed the artist's signatures to be imprinted on it. So it gives us an idea as to who painted the design or the painting, which the Ravi Varma Press then takes over and makes it into a chromolithograph. This has the signature of Ramaya. Ramaya, not only we find the signature on the Lakshmi, we also find the signature on another version of Saraswati. So this is his picture. This is the chromolithograph of Lakshmi, again from the Ravi Varma Press. But what I wanted to show you, and I'm sure a lot of you all have seen this, is that I found these two books. They are stitched at the top, and it says Lakshmi single print, Lakshmi 24 process prints. And it says all stitched. We really don't know who's written this portion of it, 14 by 20. And if you open it, you realize that this is a book of the entire series of process prints. These are the various shades, one lithograph stone for each of the shades, which the Ravi Varma Press would have had, and it is these consecutive stamps which result in the final picture. So this, for example, is the shade of red. This would have been a combination. This would have been a shade of blue, and so on. So take a look at this, because this is something you will never get to see anywhere else except in the collection of the Hasta Shilpa Heritage Village. And this is the kind of curation which you are likely to see when the museum is finally curated. Look at this extraordinary picture of one of the shades of blue. You only have her eyes. Very beautiful. I'm going to show you some more because I've seen them and I'm sure you're very eager to see them too. A beautiful shade of pink. And some of these, in my opinion, are works of art in themselves. In fact, I must be honest with you, I'm beginning to love the progressive proof prints more than the final ones. Possibly because I've seen the final ones so often that this to me is really quite rare to come by. We've been, this is the other interesting thing. When the Ravi Varma Press was making this booklet of the progressive prints for the Lakshmi, they use the same paper which they use for something else. So this is a portion of a print, Subhash Chandra Bose in royal dress. And you have the lower portion of the print. And interestingly, this is what I also wanted to bring to your attention. If you look here, it says published SS Brijbasi and Sons, Karachi in Mathura. The Ravi Varma Press, and these are the extraordinary finds which I am coming across when I am going through this collection, is actually the Ravi Varma Press and other printing establishments. They seem to have some sort of a handshake. So it wasn't that the Ravi Varma Press was only doing their work and Brijbasi was only doing their work and other modern lithos was doing their work, calendar manufacturing company was doing their work. They all had some sort of handshake where some of the pictures were being printed here, as I'm going to take you through some of the other finds for the day. So this is one set of, this is one booklet for Lakshmi, and I'm moving on, and this itself is beautiful. This is another booklet for the same Lakshmi which I showed you just now. Take a look at that. You know, the other nice thing about these progressive proof prints is you will actually look at the indexation there. It says the third shade of blue. Others also have them. This also says third shade of blue, and it has another mention of an indexation there. So some of them had all the shades mentioned as well. As you're seeing here, this of course would have been a shade of gray. Now I'm moving on to this absolutely fabulous series of fragments. I've fallen in love with them, and so is my dear friend Harish. We don't know what to do with them, and we're sort of coming to a conclusion as to what we're going to do with them because they're so beautiful. And these are some things which you'll get to see only here. You'll not get to see them anywhere else. Is to have these wonderful fragments of chromolithographs from the Ravi Varma Press with all of the shades mentioned along the side here. There seems to be some sort of a numbering pattern as well. I'm yet to figure out what the numbers indicate. Maybe it was they had a catalog and they said this is the print which they're printing. Unfortunately, as of now, I've not come across a catalog of such a nature. But I wanted to show you some of these absolutely rare finds. This is a fragment of a chromolithograph of the marriage of Matsyagandha, of Bhishma's sacrifice. This is from a painting by Raja Ravi Varma, which was commissioned by the Maharaja of Mysore between 1905 and 1906. It's the last series of paintings which Ravi Varma painted, and the original painting of this is on display at the Jagan Mohan Palace in Mysore even today. And this is a fragment of the chromolithograph from such a painting. Let's move on to another one. This is a fragment of a chromolithograph titled Mahananda. You can only see this portion, and you can see the registration marks there. And it almost looks like a watercolor, but it is a chromolithograph. Let's look at this one, Draupadi and Sudeshna. What's beautiful about this is you can see a portion of the imprint of Ravi Varma's signature, just the Ravi portion. Let me show you one more. This is a very rare. Um, this features in volume 4, so you'll have to wait for it. The entire chromolithograph features in volume 4. Again, I'm drawing your attention to the color indexation on this side of the picture. But if you look at the final chromolithograph, which is also visible from here, is that you can see Hanuman and he's praying to Sita, and it is Sita who's in the who makes the gesture of wisdom, but Rama doesn't do anything. So it's a sort of a very unique picture, because here it's Sita who's in power, and also what I liked are these little European chairs on one side. So you take a look at this portion of it, a whole bunch of European sofas in the Darbar of Sri Rama. This one is one of the most beautiful ones I've seen. This is the progressive print for Manini. The original painting of this by Ravi Varma is in the collection of the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. And this is the chromolithograph, this is the progressive print of the chromolithograph titled Manini. This is another one, Vishwamitra Tapo Bhang, also from a painting by Raja Ravi Varma. And you have Menaka trying to seduce, in this particular pose, the resolute Vishwamitra. We all know what happens to him after that. This is very rare. Why is it rare? This is a fragment of a chromolithograph titled Ramvanvas. And why is it rare? Is because it was during a very brief period that the Ravi Varma Press printed horizontal chromolithographs. The vertical version of it is a later version, but this is the version from the horizontal one. The painting of this recently was sold. I think Pandol sold it quite recently. And again, from a painting by Raja Ravi Varma. But why is this rare? Is because this is one of the very few fragments in the Hasta Shilpa, which is from the Ravi Varma Fine Art Lithographic Press at the time when it was in Bombay. This is between 1894 and circa 1898. It's during the first series which came out from the Ravi Varma Press. So this is very rare. Really don't know what we're going to do with it, but then here we are documenting it for all of you. I also wanted to show you another series which we discovered, and these are progressive proof prints of the Vitoba Rukmai chromolithograph. This also is from a painting by Raja Ravi Varma, which also was recently auctioned at Pandol's. Let's take a look at this one. This one is a fragment of a chromolithograph, Nala Damayanti Vanvas. The original painting, and you can see the imprint of the signature, is by M.V. Dhurandhar. I'm going to move this very carefully to the side so you get an idea of one of the series from this beautiful collection. And this is, of course, the Maharaja of Mysore. A lot of people wonder whether this was from a painting by Raja Ravi Varma. The reality is that this was not from a painting by Raja Ravi Varma. Well, who painted, from which painting was it derived? Wait for it in volume 6. This is Shakuntala Sakhi. You can barely make out, and what you notice is that by the time they've gone through that, they've done 2 shades, which you see here, a pink and a light ochre. I fell in love with this, and this one is the shade of grey or black for the chromolithograph, titled Ashtadasha Puja Devi, long title, 18 hands. Ashtadasha is 18. This was from a painting by N.V. Dhurandhar, and actually as a print it's an extraordinary and vibrant print, but what we're seeing here is we are looking at the progress print of that. Let's look at this one. This is Sita Vanvas. Although the painting by Raja Ravi Varma is titled Shakuntala's Impending Calamity, and it actually captures that particular episode in the play when Shakuntala, of course, is lost in love, and Durvasa, who's the angry sage, approaches her, and she's lost in thought and reverie over her lover, and because of it the ensuing curse takes place, which of course is said to relent when Dushyanta sees the ring. Okay, this is very fragile, so I'm going to handle it very carefully. Various bits and pieces of a chromolithograph titled Yogi Gopi Chand. Take a look, it's actually moving around a bit. Look at one's, okay, let me move it around very, very carefully. Okay, I'm not going to try that. There we go. So, Yogi Gopi Chand, as much as I can. Yep. So we have, I think, the final version on top, and then this is one of the progressive proof prints at the bottom. I heard a very interesting story, and this is all part of the narrative, so we should document it somewhere. Harish Pai, who has been spending a lot of time with me over the past couple of days, told me this extraordinary story of how, when with Mr. Vijaynath Shenoy and he had gone to the Ravi Varma Press, and they had commenced removing all of the chromolithographs to bring them there. Two things which I thought I should recount to you is, one, how many of the lithograph stones were actually covering drains. And when he turned them over, he would see these patterns on them. The other thing is, he told me that there was a room in which you had stacks of chromolithographs, and through them, rats had made tunnels. And that's the reason why most of these are torn in particular patterns. So this is what actually happened to the Ravi Varma Press at the time when they went there on this extraordinary treasure hunt. I wish I was there too, but at least I'm here to see this wonderful collection. This is one of the progressive proof prints for Shankar. We are moving on into Hamsa Damayanti Samvad, and let's look at what someone's done here. I don't know who's done this, but what's beautiful about it is they've actually pasted various series of progressive prints one over the other, so it sort of develops into the final version of it. That's another one of that. And I have to, now we're coming to something which is very rare. What are we looking at? Well, we really don't know too much about what we're looking at. This is a series of progress prints for one version of Ganapati printed at the Ravi Varma Press. I'm going to handle this very carefully because that's another one of the versions. This does feature in volume 3. Why am I super excited about it? I'll tell you. One, I've not seen the final version of this in this size. I'm only seeing it here. I've seen a smaller version of it somewhere else. But what's more beautiful is I love his ears. So if you've actually taken a look at his ears, they look like big human ears. They're not like the elephant flappy ears which you see. You actually see human ears. But what's extraordinary is that this is from the Ravi Varma FAL Press in Bombay. For progress prints from the FAL Press to survive this long makes this an absolute treasure in the collection of the Hasta Shilpa Heritage Village. So I'm going to keep this very carefully aside, and I don't know how I'm going to display this. I was thinking of doing an installation like an Andy Warhol, where we have all of the colors like Campbell soup or Marilyn Monroe. Oh, please don't. I'm sure someone's going to tell me how dare you compare Ravi Varma to Marilyn Monroe, but there you go. But we really don't know what we're going to do as yet. This is a fantastic treasure. And now the challenge falls upon me as to how I'm going to display them. So we're thinking of various options. Some more of the progress prints here. This is Vidya Saraswati, Dhurandar's version of Mayura Saraswati, which was by Ravi Varma. And now we come to another find. And I was super excited to find this today. I'm going to keep them like this because I want to show you that all of these three packets have one thing written on top. It says India Book House, India Book House, and India Book House. I was like, hold on 1 minute. I've heard of India Book House and what they do. And I opened one of them, which I would like to do for you now. Please bear with me. Some of these, let's show them that. And I'm going to put that back, and I'm going to go back to the second packet because I was pleasantly surprised to ladies and gentlemen, to find that. And what this is, again, is a fantastic treasure of, I'm assuming, offset positives for the printing of the Amar Chitra Katha comic book series. And we have the seal. I'm going to show that to you again very carefully. That is the seal of Amar Chitra Katha. And now we have conclusive proof that at one point in time, Amar Chitra Katha was being printed at the Ravi Varma Press. So 3 of these, again, not too sure how I'm going to display them in the final museum, but there we go. There's another find. Well, we know this. I want to show you this. Obviously, for a movie, Milan Ki Raat. I'm assuming that's Sharmila Tagore. Maybe one of you all can tell me who this guy is. Milan Ki Raat. I don't even know if this slide pertains to that movie. So here you have lobby cards also being printed at the Ravi Varma Press. And this find is new because when Mr. Shenoy brought in all the material from the Ravi Varma Press, they were housed in different places. So I was pleasantly surprised to find this. I wanted to conclude with this, which actually the press was using as packaging material. And I'm going to very carefully try and open it out for you because if someone sent me a gift with a packaging material like this, I cherish the wrapper more than the present. As I'm sure all of y'all are looking at, look at this extraordinary gift wrapping material. Wouldn't you want a gift in this? I wouldn't even bother about the gift. I'd want the so this is Devlok. These are from Narkvas. And let me turn it around for you very, very carefully. Let me see this. Okay. There. More Narkvas for you. So, I want to conclude with this today's live stream and to tell you that I've been having super fun here. I'm not looking forward to coming back to Bangalore, but I have to eventually, work calls. But look at the extraordinary finds. Look at what the Ravi Varma Press has been doing. And most importantly, a great word of gratitude to Mr. Vijaynath Shenoy for giving us all of this so that we better understand how the Ravi Varma Press functioned and how all of these images made their way into our homes through framing pictures, through through comic books, through cinema, and even through gift wrapping material. So I look forward to seeing all of you all again tomorrow, 5:30 in the evening, for the concluding of the 3-part live from the Hasta Shilpa Heritage Village in Manipal. Good evening to all of you.